We have this singles hangout that we do quarterly when we have single people come to learn and ask questions. Now, who do they ask questions? Married people. So we have a forum where married people come together, singles come together, and then singles ask questions, married people answer, just for practical learning and all of that. So if you did not attend the first one, the second one is coming up on the 18th of June. Please try to attend, do not miss it. Okay. Now, so during the question and answer segment, a lady got up to ask a question, and she started her statement with, "Marriage scares me." And we got everybody thinking. Everybody was surprised. Marriage scares you? How? Talk about it. And then when she got talking, I understood that she didn't actually mean that she's afraid of marriage itself, but the person who she was choosing to spend the rest of her life with, being that she's afraid that, okay, he might make certain, choices like cheating, which is her breaking point, that might, that she might not be able to take in a marriage. So that's what scares her. So the fear of the unknown happening. Okay. And for me, I could relate to that fear, because I remember that before I got married, after I met my husband, I had a certain fear, and it had nothing to do with cheating. It wasn't, my own reason for being afraid wasn't the cheating. It was something else. And so if you want to know what my reason was, stick around, don't go anywhere. You're welcome to this episode of Finding Love. Finding Love is a show that touches on marriage, dating, love, and everything in between. So if you're new here and you've not subscribed to this channel, first of all, welcome to this family. Kindly subscribe and click the notification bell so that whenever I upload a video, you will get a prompt. Also, like this video, share it with your friends, your family, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, and do not forget to leave me a nice comment after this video. Thank you very much. I'll be right back. You're welcome back. I'm so glad to have you join this beautiful family. So before we went on the break, I was about to talk about the reason I was afraid of marriage. So at the time, I had observed that my fiancé, who is now my husband, was sort of reckless with money. He was financially reckless, so the fear of financial inadequacy, poverty, or lack in the future sort of gave me cold feet about getting married. But marriage wasn't the problem, it was the person. Okay, and it has made me understand now that when people say, "Oh, marriage scares me," they're not actually talking about marriage in itself. It is who they're getting married to, the choices, the habits of that person that scares them. And that is why, as a single person, never be in a hurry to settle with a spouse. Take your time, choose the right one for you. Who you get married to is more important than marriage itself. Okay, because it is that person who you have chosen that you will spend the rest of your life with in marriage. Okay, so the priority is, who am I getting married to? Who am I choosing as a life partner? That's the most important thing first. Take your time to scrutinize, to choose, and be sure that, okay, this person I've chosen is the right one for me. So now that we know that marriage is not the problem, but our spouse, or maybe even ourselves, because sometimes we do not, have the confidence or believe in ourselves enough to follow through on what it entails to be married. Okay, so we might be the problem sometimes, but for today we're focusing on the fear of spouse. Okay, so now that we know that it's not marriage, but fear of spouse, let us now deal with the issue of the fear of spouse. So number one, choose faith over fear. What do I mean? It is God who chooses good spouses. So what do you need to do? You need to entrust the choice of your spouse in God's hands. Let him go through the process for you. Okay, pray about it. Let him choose a spouse for you. It was God who formed Adam, took a rib from his and formed Eve, and then brought Eve to Adam. Adam did not find Eve amongst the animals that he was naming. Neither did Eve wander into Adam's arms. God was intentional about picking a spouse for Adam. In fact, about creating a spouse for Adam. That's the word. So we have all been created for somebody. Okay, so if it's your desire to be married, it's important that you let God take you, guide you through the process. Don't do anything with your head knowledge. Now, reading the book of Genesis, Sarah and Abraham, one of the things that I got from it, if at all I got anything, was the fact that God is fully invested in marriages. Let me give you several examples. I remember when, Hagar slept with Abraham, and then, that was adultery. And Hagar started to disrespect Sarah. And Sarah said to Abraham, send her away. And Abraham was, he didn't want to do it. He was reluctant about it. And God said to him, listen to Sarah, send Hagar away. That just showed me that, God is fully invested in marriage. He's more interested in the sanctity of marriage than, divorce. He's more interested in the sanctity of marriage, than, name it, any negativity that comes with marriage. Okay, I remember another story of Abimelech, Sarah, and Abraham, how God prevented adultery. I remember that Sarah and Abraham were on a journey, and Abraham said to her, you can tell them that I'm your brother, because if they know that I'm your husband, they will kill me to have you. And she told Abimelech, oh, it's my brother. And Abimelech took her in hopes of sleeping with her. But guess what God did? He caused him to have a deep sleep and revealed to him in his dream that he was the one that prevented him from sleeping with Sarah by making him fall asleep. God is so intentional. God had to do all this to show that he's fully invested in marriage. And that was what I got from it. That alone gives me peace of mind, just knowing that, okay, God is intentional about the sanity of marriage. So the first thing is, you want to feed your faith. As a single girl, before I got married, I always used to make, scriptural declarations of the kind of future that I wanted, the kind of marriage that I wanted, the kind of husband that I wanted, and I used to pray for God to bring my own husband, not somebody else's own, my own. And I didn't want to lead myself into the wrong relationship, so I was always praying about it. So finding my husband or being found by my husband, I was very clear, that this was my husband. I was very sure from the signs I got. So it's important that you don't want to go ahead of yourself or go ahead of God and choose a spouse for yourself. Let it be God choosing for you. Okay? Now, how do you prevent yourself from, feeding your fears? Feed your faith. Start to confess the word of God over your future, over your marriage. Start to confess the word of God and start to pray for a good spouse. Start to pray for your own spouse. Okay, so it's so important. So I said, feed your faith, not the fear of the unknown. Okay. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And guess what? You need a sound mind to pick the right spouse. Okay, you need a sound mind to even know that, okay, this is the person that God has chosen for you. So your fear and your mind cannot be compared. How do I even put it? You can't trade your sound mind for fear. Thank you, my English student. I could hear you talking to me. You cannot trade sound mind for fear. Okay, you want to make sure that your mind is sound, so that even when God sends you the right person, you're able to identify that your mind is balanced. Number 2 way to deal with this issue of the fear of spouse is to seek to understand your partner and what they might be dealing with. Now, what do I mean? The first thing you want to do is, if you're dating somebody or cutting someone currently and you've noticed certain character flaws, you want to make sure that you first address these character flaws. Now, how do you address these character flaws? Seek to understand them, ask them questions, understand who they are, why they are, why they behave the way that they behave, where they're coming from, why they are manifesting such character flaws. As you listen to them, you'll be able to ascertain whether it's a character flaw or it's a red flag. Now, if it's a red flag, go through my YouTube video recently or sometime last year. I posted some videos about, dealing with red flags and character flaws. So watch it to see, okay, if it's a red flag, what you need to do about it. Now, if it's a character flaw and it's something that you can, walk through with your spouse, it's important that you do that. But do not leave any flaw unaddressed. Okay, that's one of the ways to have peace of mind before going into marriage. So first of all, seek to understand them, why they are the way they are, where they are coming from, why they are manifesting such character flaws, and how you can help them. Number 3 thing to do is offer to help them in any way that you can, or see to it that they get help. Now, what do I mean? So if you watched my video, or maybe you haven't watched it, but please try and watch it on addressing character flaws. One of the things I said is seek to help them, offer to help them. So if you do not have the ability to help them, you might want to, refer them to a coach, to a therapist, to a counselor, or somebody that you know that can help them. Okay? But the first thing is you have to understand that you cannot change anybody. Only God can change somebody, and it has to be that that person is willing to change, because God will not tamper with your will. Okay? So it's important that you pray for them. If you see that, okay, they have certain flaws, the first assignment is to start praying for them. Pray for them to overcome such flaws. Pray for them to become better. Okay? The number 2 thing you want to do is offer to help them. Ask them, how can I help you become a better person? What role can I play? What can I do? So if it means referring them to somebody else that can help, whatever it is, but understand that you cannot help them. Your prayer can help them, or your prayers rather can help them. But it has to be that they are willing to change. Number 4, ensure that these issues that you have noticed are fixed or in the process of being fixed before you commit to saying I do on the altar. Now, what do I mean? Your peace of mind in marriage is extremely important. So you want to make sure that at least these issues that you have mentioned or you have, noticed are in the process of being fixed, or are being fixed before you say yes to the person and go to the altar. Because, you don't want it to be a problem, a recurring problem in the marriage, or a major problem in the marriage. And I say this to everyone, or a lot of people, young people that come to me, I say to them that one of the mistakes I made when I was courting my husband was not addressing that character flaw of being financially reckless, and it cost me a lot. I mean, what do I mean? I am still suffering the consequences. Okay, so as much as possible, you want to make sure that you address these flaws and you see to it that these issues are being fixed, so that you have your peace of mind. Now, it's not enough to say, oh, I don't want to hurt so and so person's feelings, so let me just keep the truth away from them. You are even doing more harm to them than good. When God opens your eyes to see certain character flaws, it is not for you to keep quiet about it. It is for you to draw the person's attention to it and help them become better. Yes, you might not end up being married to that person, but people should not just come through your life and go like that and then, become worse or remain the same. They should become better, at least for the person that they'll be ending up with. So it's so important. There's a proverb that says, who needs a mirror when you have a good spouse or good friend, or, when you have the right people around you that tell you the truth, you don't need a mirror. And that is what we are. We are the mirrors of the people that we love. That is what love is about. Being able to lovingly address character flaws, being able to lovingly tell people the truth, no matter how the truth hurts. Tell them the truth. It will only make them a better person in the long run. That's if they choose to take your truth or take the truth and work on themselves. But don't keep it. That is not the reason the Holy Spirit has opened your eyes to see it. Your eyes have been opened so that you can address these issues and help to make that person a better person. Or in addition to that, if you are dating someone currently or courting someone who does not listen to you, it's important that you have access to someone who they listen to or defer to, that you can easily report them to, in case it gets to that point where you need to get the attention of someone that they defer to. Okay, because we're accountable to people that God has sent into our lives, and we must give account of them one way or another. Okay, so you can't see somebody exhibiting behaviors that would damage their lives and then you sit on it and say, oh no, I don't want to hurt their feelings, or they didn't listen to me. Make an effort to get through to somebody who they would likely listen to. Okay, and lastly, pray for your partners. Pray for them that God will send them teachers. Pray for them. God will definitely send them teachers. Okay, there's nothing impossible for God to do. Whom God cannot save does not exist. Okay, so it's important that you pray for your partners. It might take a while, yes, but it will eventually happen. It will eventually become better, And the good thing is the process will make you a better person, because when you start to pray for somebody else, God starts to work on you first. It makes you more patient, more tolerant, less critical, or is it critical? The desire to criticize someone. You can help me fix English there, I can't even remember again. Less desirous of criticizing them. He makes you more loving and patient towards them. So in turn, you're praying for somebody, but you are becoming a better person yourself. So it's so important that you pray for these people. There are people that I met earlier in my life that said, oh no, I don't believe in Jesus, or I'm not a Christian. And I said to myself, I'll make this person my project. And with time, they gave their lives to Christ, or they accepted Christ into their lives, and then we reconnected and like, oh, I'm not a Christian, oh, I've given my life to Christ, so I've accepted Christ into my life, or I attend this church, I attend that church, oh yeah, maybe it took a while, but it eventually happened. Okay, so prayers always work. Make an effort, make it a conscious effort to constantly pray for your partners, pray for whoever you're dating, pray for the ones that you love. Okay, if you have noticed certain character flaws in them. So at this point, I'll end here, but I hope I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that marriage is not the problem. Marriage is not even scary either. It is whom you have chosen that might be the problem. Okay, so the most important thing is to make sure that you take your time, choose rightly, choose the one for you, and let God guide you through the process of picking a spouse. Okay, because they might end up with you for the rest of your life. Okay, and then learn to correct people with love. Correct them in love is so important. Don't let people stay with a character flaw and just live with it. No, correct them in love. Say the truth. Tell them the truth always. Okay, thank you so much. Bye for now. Before you go, do not forget to subscribe, leave me a comment, and share this video. Thank you so much.